Hello and welcome to the Miraculous Lightworkers channel. My name is Brandy. I am here um, talking today about the workbook for students of A Course in Miracles. And I'm going to read you in the introduction, and then I'm going to go ahead and go over the first lesson. A theoretical foundation, such as the text provides, is necessary as a framework to make the exercises in this workbook meaningful. Yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of this workbook to train your mind to think along the lines that the text sets forth. The exercises are very simple. They do not require a great deal of time, and it does not matter where you do them. They need no preparation. The training period is 1 year. The exercises are numbered from 1 to 365. Do not undertake to do more than one set of exercises a day. The workbook is divided into two main sections. The first dealing with the undoing of the way we see now, and the second with the acquisition of true perception. With the exception of the review periods, each day's exercise are planned around one central idea, which is stated first. This is followed by a description of the specific procedures by which the idea for the day is to be applied. The purpose of the workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. The exercises are planned to help you generalize the lessons so that you will understand that each of them is equally applicable to everyone and everything you see. Transfer of training in true perception does not proceed as does transfer of the training in the world. If true perception has been achieved in connection with any person, situation, or event, total transfer to everyone and everything is certain. On the other hand, one exception held apart from true perception makes its accomplishments anywhere impossible. I'm going to just touch on that really quick because that's a big concept here. So, on the other hand, one exception held apart from true perception makes its accomplishments anywhere impossible. So, it's like you have this selective perception, and if you can't learn to see truly and you have one thing that you're holding apart that you refuse to see in alignment with the collective, it will make it impossible for you to make the jump of perception. Continuing on, the only general rules to be observed throughout then are first, that the exercises be practiced with great specificity, as will be indicated. This will help you to generalize the ideas involved to every situation in which you find yourself, and to everyone and everything in it. Second, be sure that if you do not decide for yourself that there are some people, situations, or things to which the ideas are inapplicable, this will interfere with transfer of training. The very nature of true perception is that it has no limits. It is the opposite of the way you see now. So this can be really a little disconcerting for people sometimes, I think, when they jump in, because we like our perceptions the way they are. We have everything compartmentalized the way that we want it, but this leads to our inability to see truly, to have spiritual sight. So, the overall aim of the exercises is to increase your ability to extend the ideas you will be practicing to include everything. This will require no effort on your part. The exercises themselves meet the conditions necessary for this kind of transfer. Some of the ideas the workbook presents you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. This does not matter. You're merely asked to apply the ideas as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them at all. You are asked only to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning to you and will show you that they are true. Remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. But do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas the workbook contains. And whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than that is required. Okay, so here in part 1, lesson 1, the predominant affirmation here is: nothing I see in this room on this street, from this window, in this place means anything. Number one, now look slowly around you and practice applying this idea very specifically to whatever you see. This table does not mean anything. This chair does not mean anything. This hand does not mean anything. This foot does not mean anything. This pen does not mean anything. Number two, then look farther away from your immediate area and apply the idea to a wider range. That door does not mean anything. That body does not mean anything. That lamp does not mean anything. That sign does not mean anything. That shadow does not mean anything. Number three, notice that these statements are not arranged in any order and make no allowance for differences in the kinds of things to which they are applied. That is the purpose of the exercise. The statement should merely be applied to anything you see. As you practice the idea for the day, use it totally indiscriminately. Do not attempt to apply it to everything you see, for these exercises should not become ritualistic. Only be sure that nothing you see is specifically excluded. One thing is like another as far as the application of the idea is concerned. Each of the first 3 lessons should not be done more than twice a day each, preferably morning and evening, nor should they be attempted for more than a minute or so, unless that entails a sense of hurry. A comfortable sense of leisure is essential. I'm going to give my short sort of analysis on lesson 1. When I first read this the very first time, I was really caught off guard because it just felt like almost like abrasive to try and say that this doesn't mean anything, that doesn't mean anything, because I've applied a meaning to everything, and that's kind of what you're getting to, is understanding that I've given everything here all the meaning that it has for me, but if I shut it down at what I say it means to me, for me, I lose the potential of understanding the fullness of it, the wholeness of it. I lose the ability to understand that there's much more potential in everything around me in the awakening, but I don't see it because I am spiritually blind. And I still run into this. I'm as human as everybody else, right? It's hard to stay fully awake and have those experiences and realize that everything around me has a function and a purpose that's beyond my sort of, what I prescribe to it. I'm going to share a couple little notations that I have from the text here. So when I read my book, a lot of books, I go into it with a pencil or a pen, and it's a conversation because that's the only way I can really internalize it. And I mark my books up to no end because when I go back and read it again, I'm going to have a deeper experience with it. And it's like I pick up the conversation where I left off. Let's see. So 211 is the page in the text. This is chapter 11. And you're looking at, all right, so this goes along with that. It says, you do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. Not one thought you hold is wholly true. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. You are not misguided. You have accepted no guide at all. Instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it, for understanding is your inheritance. Perceptions are learned, and you are not without a teacher. Yet your willingness to learn of him depends on your willingness to question everything you learned of yourself. For you who learned amiss should not be your own teacher. That's really valuable. So that's from page 211, the section entitled Problem and Answer, Part 3, if anybody has the text and wants to look that one up. And this is from 254, page 254, chapter 13, under the section entitled Attainment of the Real World. This is Chapter 2. The world you see must be denied, for sight of it is costing you a different kind of vision. You cannot see both worlds, for each of them involves a different kind of seeing and depends on what you cherish. The sight of one is possible because you have denied the other. Both are not true, yet either one will seem as real to you as the amount to which you hold it dear. And yet their power is not the same, because their real attraction to you is unequal. One means everything and one means nothing, right? So when you look around and you realize that you have this sort of prescription of the world that you function in, but that the potential of the real world in your midst is so much greater, then your eyes really start to open. Then you start to see things from a completely different perspective. And you start to have these spontaneous experiences of awakening as you're coming into alignment with truth. So, thank you for being here with me on the Miraculous Lightworkers channel. Hope you found this interesting. If you did, like, share, subscribe, comment below. If you're doing this as a practice, which I highly encourage, tell us about your experience with it. You know, this is an interactive platform. So thank you for your interest in A Course in Miracles and for your time. Join us next time for more info and interaction as we all uplift, enlighten, and ascend together. Thanks for joining me. Bye now.